This is something I've got to get off my chest. Why did Ozark Iraq at Lifeboat support Corey Quint when I had a restraining order on Corey Quint for putting his hand around my throat? Corey Quint is a fentanyl addict. I've been told he's a meth dealer. I've seen him be hustled by fentanyl addicts for more pills. I assume he's a fentanyl dealer or trader or distributor, shall we say. And at the time, I didn't know he was involved in the meth fentanyl scene so much, although he did say, don't judge meth till you try it, was one of his refrains. So when I got a protective order in Judge Peterson's court regarding Corey's scary and creepy behavior, Corey came back with Matt Williams, a man who had chased me across the street in a meth rage and punched out a homeless woman's tooth, as his chief witness. And they wanted to do it from the Lifeboat computers. I was scared about that because with everything being sort of semi-digital now, with they call it web access. It's like Zoom for the courts. I was disgusted. I was like, wow, so Lifeboat wants to support perpetrators and send a strong message to women, their clients who come forward about abuse, that they will support perpetrators. Okay, so then I put in basically, Judge Peterson had to recuse because Matt Williams was on drug court being supervised for his assault on Sierra, which prior to assaulting Sierra, he chased me across the street, and we were trying to de escalate him and hope his crisis was just passing. Um, so, in a way, I was one of Matt Williams' victims, also. I mean, how many times have I tried to get him to stop using the C word and the N word? I'm from Detroit. I can do anything I want because I'm from Detroit, is his attitude, right? He's in jail now for some major meltdown that supposedly involves assaulting a cop, okay? So, Matt Williams, loud, rowdy Matt Williams, is Corey Quint's chief witness, even though he wasn't a witness to the actual events in contention, okay? He's more just sort of like a character witness, homie, coming along for the ride. And so Peterson's like, I've got to recuse. I'll send it to McIntosh. At the time, I didn't know if there was a problem with McIntosh. I just assumed she would be normal and fair. So, November 17th, it then goes to McIntosh's court. Guess who else Corey brings on a Lifeboat computer terminal? I basically put forward a motion, which kind of allowed me to understand the temper of the judge, which is that I asked that the hearing happen in person, that the Lifeboat computers not be used to support this perpetrator, that it sends a horrifying message to victims of violent sex type crimes or sexual perpetrator crimes, that Lifeboat will support perpetrators and will gang up on perpetrators. So McIntosh denied me. So I was like, oh, okay, you're missing like a major point about the dynamic going on over there at Lifeboat, where they gang up on victims, they verbally abuse, they sexually harass, they assault, and then they victim blame and exclude and trespass and punish and bully women. Okay? So Lifeboat is getting away with this, using their computer terminal, and this is kind of before their credibility is dashed to pieces, where they're still trying to ride on, like, Kirk Wintermute is our board president or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean everything you do is legal, okay? He's not, like, a total salvo, so I don't know if I'm using that right. So uh, then they bring Monica, an employee of Lifeboat, as some additional witness, and she's not really a witness of anything or a witness of much. Basically, she's brought in as the woman to make the sex pest look less dodgy. Look, a woman just defends me. So guess what I found out from Monica's dad? Her ex-husband was sexually molesting her daughter, and she is into protecting the sex pests and making excuses for them. Guess what I found out about her new boyfriend? Oh, he's also a sex offender. Guess who he works for? lifeboat, and that would be Monkey, i.e. Robert Vandervelde, who with Kayla Sandoval beat up Salvador, leaving the American Legion, the transgendered person. Brutally beat up. Like, almost killed, beat up. And so, what's Monkey's thing? Oh, yeah, exposing himself sexually to all these homeless women on the pretense of, let me show you my piercings in my genitals. Ugh. Injecting meth in the 12th Street bathrooms while engaged in sexual activity in the 12th Street bathrooms. I mean, I'm thrilled he's bisexual. Woohoo! You got with my gay friend. Awesome, dude, Monkey. But Monkey, brandishing a dildo at me at the park. So yeah, he's one of the sexual predators who works for Lifeboat now. So Monkey's basically was saved from his meth addiction by Monica scooping him up and trying to like put him together and get him off drugs. Has it completely worked? I've heard no, he's back on drugs. No, he's back to dealing drugs, okay? From Lifeboat. That's what I've heard. That he's openly talking about the dealin'. The dealin'. And why does Ozark want Monkey there? I mean, Monkey's cute and adorable. The first time I ever saw him, he wanted to beat up George. And I was like, well, this is rather homoerotic. You're now ripping your clothes off to have some big man battle in the middle of the street in front of Gizmos. And I'm having to jump in front of it, and they're both like, well, Monkey's probably less than 120, and George is like about 130. And I'm like, and this is all over. Garth Heck has punched George over. George gives them $20 and they don't bring back his change because they're homeless and they're going to steal his change. Duh. So, So this little hearing doesn't go so hot with Miss Judge McIntosh. Matt Williams abundantly... Basically, Matt and Monica serve as a distraction from the actual issues. I am able to get Cory to admit that he put his hand around my throat. What he wants to call it is I was caressing her throat. Ugh. And so I had to see him yesterday crossing the parking lot of the Columbia Bank. Why did the police lose my file? I am patiently waiting for the Astoria police to come up with a file. With this 1 hour long, I went deep into the issues surrounding Cory putting his hand around my throat. What I thought it was about. Why was he doing this? Is this illegal? Is this a crime in Astoria to be a 6'2" man putting your hand around the throat of a 5'4 3/4 woman? Is that even okay? So Judge McIntosh's opinion was, well, there's no way he can know you didn't want his hand around your throat. And I'm like, lady, go check up on the Strangulation Institute. Men who do this are very likely to murder us. Like, that is a deathly position. Like, very fear-inducing. And it was, of course, very disturbing, and McIntosh basically called me a liar, so we've just got her recused from anything to do with Ozark Iraq's war on me for going to the Domestic Violence Center to get advocacy as to why he continues to discriminate against me. Why does he support a perpetrator in a hearing about coerced, violent sexual activity, hand around the throat, life-threatening moves? Why is he on Team Rapo? That's, like, not the side to be on, dude. And why is his little committee of rape apologist type people rallying behind an abuser in a hearing? And why is the judge not even noticing there's a problem with that? Mind-blowing, okay? Yep. And so, and the whole... So when I talked to Litwin... Okay, I like Litwin. Litwin is a Leo. We've got that out of the way. But, like a Leo of the Zodiac in addition to a law enforcement officer. He's all like, yeah, well, the restraining order got dropped and, because, well, they're not going to do anything. And I'm like, yeah, and this is like why women don't report stuff is because y'all don't do anything and y'all don't take it seriously. And so maybe this is why the police chief is looking all dodgy at me. Oh, and then why are you guys so eager to prosecute me for making a perfectly legal one-party recording of Ozark screaming at me that I'm predatory? I'm predatory? How am I predatory when I'm the person who has Corey Quint's hand on my throat, scared he's some kind of actual effing madman, which I really do think he is? And his attendant stalking type behavior and aggressive, like stabbing me with his fingers, trying to rip my clothes off, repeated attempts to put his hand on, like he put his hand on my throat multiple times. Why is Ozark Iraq totally down with that guy coming to Lifeboat? I mean, I wasn't going back to Lifeboat so long as Cory had anything to do with it, because I don't want to be around a guy who's, number one, verbally abusing me and bashing me for being a rape victim, wants to put his hand around my throat, wants to coerce me into non-consensual, like, violent sexual activities, is terrifying me he's going to rape me, is then exposing himself like Monkey wants to expose his genitals. Cory just suddenly wants to expose his genitals at me without my permission, without my interest, without my consent. And they're flaccid and they're small and ram them in my face. And there's like no way I want anything to do with what he's got going on. Yeah. So Lifeboat doesn't want to admit they have a tolerant attitude towards violence to women and a pro-perpetrator attitude. Well, so Zach is in now for sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl. Creepy Zach who molested someone I know and care about. Creepy Zach who looks you up and down. Oh, creepy Zach who always gets a bigger tent even though he smashed out someone's teeth. At Lifeboat, he gets the bigger tent. The preferential treatment towards the predators. Or, so-and-so tries to rape so-and-so. Oh, the victim gets kicked out and now the rapist has to bring her pizza? That's Lifeboat. Pro-perpetrator. Perpetrator-centered. Not cool. So, now that, like, Hanson's so eager to misinterpret 165.540 so Ozark can have his little moment of vengeance or slip on his own banana peel in his little fake case against me, how is this not more retaliation for reporting sexual assault? This is retaliation for, oh yeah, reporting you to bully for gender discrimination and disability discrimination, sure, but maybe the main problem is that I didn't want to just be politely raped and shut up about it. Oh, and now I'm a predator? And essentially Aaron and Ozark giving themselves like another $15,000 a year salary per each, to bumping up their salary to $65K a year each, so now they're at $130 for a family. They don't want to admit anything that is actually going on with their clients, because anything they admit may disrupt their profit motive. Their profit motive is now preventing them doing their job, which includes justice for women, which includes safe and equal access for women, civil rights for women. And if they think basically becoming rape apologists and supporting creeps and predators is actually a function of their job duties, or it's going to preserve their little marginal salary as long as they can keep their little shindig going, what a huge sacrifice, and what a slap in the face of the women of the community who don't feel safe there, have been harassed there, have been kicked out there, have been assaulted by numerous dudes who go there. And Kirk Wintermute is going to have Josh Stellman write me a letter. Nothing ever happened, and no abuse ever happened, ever. And I'm like, you guys are living in a fantasy. You don't know anything about homelessness, clearly. Like, there's nothing statistically valid about nothing ever happens ever between male perpetrators and homeless women or low income women, disabled women. And the fact that Josh Stellman wanted to promulgate that fantasy was the equivalent of saying, well, absolutely, Mary, Santa Claus does exist. Signed, yours truly, delusional lawyer, Josh Stellman. And he's hired by Kirk Wintermute when Kirk Wintermute realizes, oh, okay, she's writing the Judicial Commission. I guess I can't shut her up with one accusatory email accusing me of what? Oh, what did Kirk Wintermute accuse me of? Of making people uncomfortable? Or George having a meltdown? Or, oh, yeah, the clothing drive conspiracy plot. Ozark's little conspiracy that when I volunteer, everything I do is nefarious, whereas when he volunteers and crams a bunch of money in his pocket, everything's chill, even though he's the convicted burglar and I'm supposedly doing it out of the goodness of my heart, but Ozark can't recognize goodness of heart because he doesn't know what that is, so he's going to project nefarious motives on everybody. And Kirk Wintermute's going to make false allegations with no due process? And I'm like, how are you even judge material? Do you even know what due process is, dude? As I would say in my comical blog, he's not a dude of due process. So, there. That's off my chest. And what was this all about? Oh, yeah, waiting on that police file. I'm quite anxious. And you know, I told Litvin I've not been so eager to read it because it's so disturbing. And letting them know that it hurts. I mean, worst case scenario, they lost the whole file. Or they demoted it from report to incident or something. Or maybe they got somebody told them to shred it. Or maybe they just don't get back to me and I have to do it weeks and weeks of runaround trying to find it. But I do want to find it. It's disgusting. It'll probably make me want to puke. And why is this man who wants to put his hand around my throat running around my community with no consequences? And why am I being prosecuted? For, documenting his accomplice in victim blaming me? Ozark? Verbally abusing me in retaliation for making the report? Right. And like, this is Clatsop County. This is how backwards Clatsop County is. And you're supposed to trust your tax dollars with Ozark to bully, harass, demean, and launch false malicious prosecutions on victims of sexual assault. You know it's not safe to report assault to them. You can just tell. They're not interested. But that they would go this low is so disturbing. Oh my god. Poor Kirk Wintermute needs to resign their board. ASAP, ASAP. And the fact that Ozark on his little phone call is like, my board member, Kirk Wintermute, my board member. And it's like, no, honey, you can't be invoking Kirk Wintermute like anything your criminal clients do is now perfectly legal because you have a judge on your board. Why do we have a judge on a board of a nonprofit involved with criminal activity, drug dealing, and sexual assault? Why? Does that corrupt the judiciary? Do we need to revisit my judicial complaint with more and additional facts? Holy moly. I've only had green tea. I'm ready to go to the river to go get vegetables. So see y'all later. Please enjoy.